So we are in part 2 of a capital campaign that we're calling Motion Campaign 2.0. And for those of you who don't know, a capital campaign is merely the vehicle that churches use to raise money above and beyond their normal giving to pay for a building or a renovation of a building. And I think most of the people at our church know that we have just run out of room a long time ago. We do 6 services every weekend. We give our building away to a lot of different ministries, and we just need more room. And it's because of sacrifice, like many of you have already made in giving to the campaign, and we're asking many more to give to the campaign. But sacrifices like this man has made, WinFam, the owner of Sunfish, who owned the building that we will be renovating, and he moved out of that building specifically just to make way for our church to be in it, our church to grow, expand, and expand the kingdom in the middle of Sacramento.
When you expand a building, you're expanding the audience, and you're changing that many more lives. If you could fit 2 times or 3 times the amount of people in there, you're changing 2 to 3 times the amount of lives that you could really be changing. These people need this building more than I do, more than my children do, more than my parents' name on the building, more than what my plan was. There was a bigger plan. From that moment, I would drive up and that building looked like a church to me. It did not look like a fish market anymore.
Wow.
And that was my baby. That was my fish market. That was my fish company. I'm the only fish company in Sacramento that's locally owned. And I'm sitting here thinking, this thing's a church. This thing could basically touch so many more people and affect so many more lives if it were part of Bayside Midtown than it would be if it was Sunfish Forever. This whole thing is so much bigger than me. I used to give myself all the credit for everything. It used to just all be about me. Like as narcissistic as that sounds, I wouldn't say I was a narcissistic person, but I didn't know who to give the glory to.
Can you speak to some of those people right now and tell them from your perspective, can you speak to them and speak to that and speak to how just God has been in this entire time?
Yes. It's so nice when you could just understand that you're not by yourself and you're not alone. And to have so many more people be able to walk into that building, and if they didn't understand that before, to be able to receive that message and understand that now. I mean, you're keeping people from going down a dark path. People that truly need to hear it aren't going to be able to hear it. It's got to be one of those things, obviously, where people are ready to hear and understand and believe, but it's also the opportunity. Like now there's an opportunity, a bigger opportunity, to capture a bigger audience and to receive that message. My sacrifice in the whole thing was just, obviously a little bit of discomfort and kind of just having to move my life around a little bit to move my business and operate somewhere else.
You're downplaying it. You gave up the crown jewel of your empire.
And I did, but the only reason why I say it's such a small thing is in the grand scheme of things, that was a very minor thing when you look 100, 200 years down the road and Bayside Midtown is sitting there in those 2 buildings. You're not going to remember WinFam from 200 years ago who sold his fish market building to Bayside.
And none of us are going to remember the sacrifice we feel like we made.
And you're changing that many more lives. If you could fit 2 times or 3 times the amount of people in there, you're changing 2 to 3 times the amount of lives that you could really be changing. Could you imagine even changing just 1 life? And now you're going to be changing thousands and hundreds of thousands. I mean, this building's going to be sitting there forever now. I purchased a property on Broadway to move my business into, which obviously moving a business that's fully functioning 7 days a week is not easy. So I've really leaned into them a lot. And during the difficult times of moving like that, I remind myself, there's a plan to this all. And the plan is for Bayside Midtown to thrive and for it to touch that many more people and for it to be able to seat many more people and people that have never heard the message to receive that and sit there and understand and believe, because I was not a believer. And I'm a full-blown believer now, and I could not be happier. It takes nothing to believe except for allowing yourself to. It takes 0 effort except for opening yourself up and saying, you know what, I'm ready for this.
When we look back on it, as Win has said many times, when we look back on it, we're not even going to remember our sacrifice. We're just going to look at all the great work God has done and be nothing but grateful and thankful.